Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It's my pleasure to welcome you to our regular Thursday lecture, our first lecture in the new year. And my name is Victoria Krasicka. I am EducationUSA Ukraine's new outreach coordinator. And today we're going to talk about the peculiarities of study in the USA. We're going to share with you some of our hacks and tips, and also some of the do's and don'ts that you should keep in mind if your dream is to study in the USA. So you might have already guessed that life on an American campus is not exactly as it's depicted in like typical American comedies. So you will need to plan strategically, make the most out of your time to get the best education in the world, and of course, at the same time, enjoy all the opportunities America offers. So, how to do well in your classes? Which resources for students are available on campus? And what are some of the do's and don'ts that you should keep in mind while studying in the US? These questions and some more we're going to discuss today during our webinar, and it is my very great pleasure to welcome today Vasyl Yurkuts, our EducationUSA Ukraine Ambassador, but also global UGRAD finalist. Vasyl, thank you for joining us today. I am delighted to be here with you, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Victoria. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really glad to be here today. And I think that my presentation will be really helpful for students and for people who want to study in the United States, or maybe are now studying in the United States, and maybe they will get something useful for themselves. And yes, as Victoria said, I am EducationUSA Ukraine Ambassador, and I am the finalist of the Global Undergraduate Exchange Program for Young Leaders, which is shortly Global UGRAD. And I think we can start our presentation. So today, guys, we're going to talk about the peculiarities of studying at a university in the USA, life hacks and important aspects. So it's going to be the presentation about how to do well on campus, how to what you should do, what you shouldn't do, some different aspects of like traveling, studying, preparing yourself to this really important trip in your life. Okay, so let's start. And the first thing that we're going to talk about today is pre-departure orientation. Pre-departure orientation, it's like a session that you have before you are going to the United States. So for example, you are the finalist of some exchange program or any other programs, as I was. Usually you have pre-departure orientation with your advisor or with your, teachers, someone else. But if you guys are just like applying by yourself, you have to do these things by yourself as well. So what do I mean by pre-departure orientation? It's like try to find as much information as possible about the country you're going to. So try to find as much information as possible about the United States, about the culture, which we're going to talk about too, about the state that you're going. Maybe there are some different, interesting things that you want to see, or maybe interesting places, maybe there are interesting people, maybe you have friends over there. Try to find as much information as possible. And of course, try to find as much information as possible about the city that you're going to. Maybe there's something interesting too you might want to visit or see. And of course, the main thing that you want to search on the internet is your university or college. I think that this is the most important thing. Why? Because every university or college, it's like own system. They have something interesting in each university in the United States or college in the United States. So I think it is really important to find friends over there, like before you're going to the United States, so you can have someone to hang out on campus when you just got there. Maybe they will help you to take a ride to, I don't know, Walmart to buy some interesting and important things for your, just when you just got there. And of course, there are different aspects that you want to know about the dormitories, about the schedule, about the travelings, I don't know, holidays, events on campus. You can search it up, everything before you are going to the United States to your university. I think that it's much more easier and much more like comfortable for you because you're going prepared and you are aware of the things that might happen to you. And we're moving to the next slide. Cultural diversity and culture shock. So this is really interesting thing because the United States of America is probably the most diverse country in the world. You can meet every nationality here, every language, any type of culture, and you have to be aware about these things as well, especially in the states like New York, because now I am currently studying in New York State in Utica University, and here the city of Utica is really diverse, and we have like a whole refugee center here, and we have people from different nationalities. And I think that it's very interesting because cultural diversity gives you a lot of opportunities to meet people from like other countries with different backgrounds, with different cultural aspects, traditions, with the language. I was an exchange student for the first semester, but now I'm a full-time student here, and I've met a lot of people from all around the world. It's like Japan, it's Japan, Paraguay, Poland, Israel, and a lot of different countries. And I didn't know a lot of things about those countries before I got to the United States. But since I got here and I met all those people from all around the world who were international students just as me, and it was very interesting to share this experience and to share these like cultural backgrounds. And of course, you have to be ready for cultural shock in the United States of America because, of course, Americans have their own culture, they have their own different aspects, and one of those I've included here. So you should be aware of such a things like food, for example, because obviously food in your home country back in Ukraine will be a little bit different than food here. Also, what I found interesting was water with ice. That was kind of funny for me because when I just got here, it was like January last year, and I just saw the guy, and he took the cup, and he got like a whole cup of ice and a little bit of water, and it was winter, it was January. And I was like, "Oh my God, are Americans really drinking water with so much ice here?" But then I just got used to it because it's a part of their culture. And even if you're going to the, like, I don't know, to some kind of restaurant or any other places, they will offer you water with ice because it's just how it is in the United States. And the other thing is taxes. Why is it important, and why it might be a part of cultural shock? We're going to talk about money management a little bit later. But taxes, it's something that you are not really ready for before you're coming to the United States, because in Ukraine this system is different as well. If you're buying something in Ukraine and the price is like, I don't know, $100, you're going to pay $100 because the tax is included in the price. But in the United States, if you're buying something for $100, you're going to pay $110, for example. But it also depends on the state, but it's just usually how it is. And you have to be aware of these things too. And also about some interesting things about American culture. It's like a small talks when everyone is asking you, "Hi, how are you doing?" But like nobody really genuinely cares how are you doing. It's just part of their culture, and you have to reply, "I'm good, thank you," or "I'm fine, and how about you?" And then another interesting thing is like shoes inside of the house. Of course, it depends on the family because they have a lot of like people from all around the world, especially if they are like immigrants or refugees. And of course, every house has its own like rules and traditions. But usually, Americans, they do wear shoes inside of their houses, and I found it interesting for myself too because in Ukraine we don't. Um, and yeah, we're gonna talk about a little bit more cultural things. And now we're going to start with the money management. We're going to talk about two managements today. One is money management, and the second one is time management. So, what is money management, and why is it really important before you're going to the United States? You have to manage your budget properly because First, if you are on the like program and someone is financing you, so you're not paying for anything, you're receiving like financial aids or scholarships or any other types of funds, you might be not really caring about the like your expenses and your spendings and money because you have enough and someone is paying for you. But at the same time, we have these like taxes. You want to travel, you want to go out with your friends for a meal, you're gonna go somewhere, I don't know, to see something else with your friends, or just, I don't know, just buy some present, buy, I don't know, AirPods for yourself or original Nike shoes, something else. It's just like, so simple things that Ukrainian students really do when they are in the United States. So you have to manage your budget properly. I think that this is really important thing, especially if you are paying for something else while you're studying. For example, if you're paying for your dormitory, or if you're paying for your like meal plan in the dining hall. So like if you're paying for your food or housing, or maybe you're paying some part of your tuition, you have to manage your budget really, really carefully, because usually students who are like on J1 visas, they are not allowed to work here. So everything you're receiving is just it's just the money that you got, or the money that the scholarship that you're getting from any other organization or foundation. And the other thing is that like we're going to talk about that is connected to this one is time management. Of course, while you're in the United States, you want to travel, you want to go somewhere, you want to be successful with your academics, you want to have nice grades, and you want to keep in touch with the professors, and as well keep in touch with your friends here, with your friends in Ukraine. So you have to manage your budget first, and then like it's really important too to manage your time properly, because like the education system in Ukraine and in the United States is really different. So if you're studying here, you might not be as busy as when you are in Ukrainian university, but you still have to do some things to be successful here. You can't just do nothing and have nice grades. That's not how it works. So you have to manage your time properly, because sometimes you don't really have time to do something else because of your studying, especially if you're procrastinating, like I do sometimes, unfortunately. But yes, you just have to manage your time properly, and especially if you are have some plans for like traveling, you want to go to, I don't know, Washington DC, New York City, California, Florida, somewhere else. That's where people usually do, or Grand Canyon, or something else. Of course, you want to plan your time properly, because you don't want to get failed on your class. You don't want to miss something important. You don't want to miss your orientation or your meeting with your advisor or something else. Just be aware of these things, because time management is really important, and it's not only about not only about studying. Of course, you have to do your homework, you have to do your assignments, tests, essay, and other things, but you just have to be like prepared for this, that you have to manage your time and budget properly. And we're moving on. And then I'm going to talk about more like specific tips and life hacks that might help you while you're studying in the US. So the first thing is office hours. We don't have this thing in Ukraine, from as much as I know, but I think that this is really useful and important thing that exists in the United States. What is office hours? So, for example, you have a class of like, I don't know, English language here, and your professor has like sometimes um, like during the week, when you can talk to him just in his office. So you can just come to your professor and ask him whatever you want. You can ask him something about your essay, something about the test, something about the class. So it's just an opportunity to talk to your professor one on one, without any classmates, without any other people around. You're just going to the office and you're talking to your professor about the things that are concerning you. And I think that this is really interesting, and I'm usually using this thing in like while I'm here and while I'm studying in this university, because, for example, it's really important for you to keep your grades well, and if you want to keep those grades well, you have to study, and if you want to like study properly and do your things successfully, you have to talk to your professor and ask sometimes for some pieces of advice. Of course, I was talking to my professors about essays, about other different things, and it is just really really good opportunity to get to know your something about your class more, and maybe professor will let you know about something important that you have to pay attention to. um, yeah, so I think office hours, but you usually have to schedule them. You have to email your professor, or sometimes professors are just giving you some papers with the schedule when they are free in their offices, so you can just go to the office and talk to your professor. The next thing is academic integrity and plagiarism. So yes, this is a very important thing in the United States while you're studying here. It's kind of different in Ukraine because unfortunately we still are doing some terrible things in Ukrainian university. People are still cheating. People are still, I don't know, doing something that they are not supposed to do. But here in the United States, it's more like serious. And I even know the guy. He had some kind of a class, and he was just studying, and he was doing okay. But at the end of the class, like at the end of the semester, he decided to just to cheat on his essay. So he just found an essay on internet, and he copied and pasted it and just handed it to his professor, and he got failed from his class. So that's just one example of what you shouldn't do in the United States, because this like academic integrity policy is really serious here. And usually you will have like some kind of university website where you're working, some like kind of like an online platform when you're uploading your assignments, submitting your tests and other things. And usually the website is already checking your essays or your, I don't know, discussion postings. They are checking this on the percentage of plagiarism. So the website is checking like a whole internet for like about your work. um, and I think that this is something that is like that you should be really aware about, because if you are doing like if you are finding tests on like online, just like the answers for your test, or if you're finding like an essay or some other things on internet, that's not okay for the United States. Of course someone is doing that, because we can't say that nobody is cheating. We just have to be like more real. Of course, some Americans do too, but it's just something that you, as an international student, don't want to do, because if you will do, you will probably most likely get in trouble. Okay, let's move on. Library and study rooms. I think that this is something that we are not really used to back in Ukraine. I think that this tip would help you to study better and more effective. They usually have like, because students here in the United States, everybody is going to the library to study. In Ukraine, we don't really do. Everybody is just studying on their own, and I just got used to it. I can study in my room, and there's not a big difference for me. But when I'm going to the library, it's the atmosphere that you are feeling around yourself. You can see other people studying around. You have, I don't know, you're less distracted by your phone. You're less distracted by something that is going on outside of your room, or I don't know, you're just more focused in the library than you usually are in your room. And what is study rooms? I'm not sure if we have those in Ukrainian, like maybe bigger libraries, but from what I know, we don't really have those things. It's like small rooms in the library that you can just like a book for kind of like for some time, for like 2 hours or 3 hours, and you can do some like group projects with your friends over there or with your classmates, when you can just sit and study on your own in the room. That gives you like even more like private space, because nobody is going into your room, because it's like booked only for you. And I think that that's very interesting, and this life hack might help you to study better than you are studying now. And and of course, in the library, you can find a lot of people who might help you with some things. For example, if you need to find some information, or you need to find some article for your research, or you need to I don't know, maybe find a person who can help you with something. They usually have tutors in the library. They usually have librarians who are happy to help you with the databases, so you can find any article you want, any like project you want, and you can just do it better in the library, from my understanding. And of course, all the tips in this presentation, they are based on my own experience. Um, yeah, so you might agree, might disagree with those things, but that's just from what I from my understanding. And yeah, so library and study rooms is one of those tips that I would recommend you to do. And let's move on. A friend with a car. That might sound a little bit funny, but when we have a friend who has a car, it makes your life much more easier in the United States. Why? Because of course, in big cities like New York or Washington or I don't know Philadelphia, Boston, of course, the public transportation is developed, and you can get anywhere by bus or just taking metro, train, or just I don't know doing something else. But if you are in like a smaller city in the United States, you really want to like have someone who can pick you up or drop you somewhere, especially if you have something important. For example, I don't know, you just need to go to Walmart to buy something, you just need to go somewhere else. Like it just makes your life much more easier. And of course you don't have to pay like I don't know $15 for like your taxi, but of course we're going to talk about those things too a little bit later. So a friend with a car, and of course probably you all know that Americans, they're getting their like driving licenses and cars since they are like 18. uh, so it's not a big problem for them because they're leasing cars and sometimes their parents helping them to pay for them. So usually probably like 60% of all students on campus, they have cars. So like every second student has a car. So most likely if you will find like a group of friends, some of them will definitely have a car. So you can just, I'm not telling you that you should use your friend for a car, but if you will find someone and if he or she has a car, that will be much more easier to live your life in a smaller city in the United States, where the public transportation system is not as developed in big than in the big cities. And yeah, I think this is a very important tip. And of course you might use like taxi, you can download Uber or a Lyft. Lyft is cheaper, and but Uber is more like popular, and Uber is just, it's just like more trendy in the United States than the Lyft is. So you just might use Uber or Lyft, of course, but you will have to pay more. And with your friend, you can just sometimes give him or her some money for gas. That's how it works. And then traveling, one of probably the most important and interesting and exciting things that all Ukrainian students want to do in the United States. I've included my pictures here because this is just my experience from where I've been already. It's like New York City, Boston, Philadelphia, Washington D.C., and some other cities. And of course, I have like some other cities on my list that I still want to visit. But traveling is really important. Why? Because it's emotions, it's memories for yourself. And there are, of course, different tips for traveling as well. Um, you might have friends. You might have friends who are from another states, and if you like have something that you want to see in the other state, you might just ask your friend to help you with the like housing, with the just maybe your friend can provide you some kind of a room, or he has or she has some any other friends. So just try to like manage your budget properly here. Of course, manage your time properly here, but you still want to travel. So, and of course, you can take the cheapest like I don't know plane tickets, and of course you can I don't know find the cheapest Airbnb. But what I really recommend to do is plan your trip like at least a couple weeks before, and it would be better if you would plan it a couple months before. If you know that you have, for example, a spring break, which is like I don't know March 15th, March 22nd, for example, you want to buy your tickets probably now, even though it's like 2 3 months before, but you are still want to do like everything on time, and you still want to get the best prices, you still want to manage your time properly, because you will know that, oh, those dates I am going to, I don't know, California, for example. So traveling is kind of important too, because of course you can make a lot of different like beautiful pictures, and you can meet a lot of friends. And of course it's much more easier to travel with a friend if you have, but if you don't, I know people who are just traveling on their own, and they are not really suffering. Sometimes it might be a little bit hard for you if you are traveling alone, but at the same time you just have time for yourself, and if you can enjoy time like just by yourself, I think that you're really like emotionally a strong person. So yes, traveling is important, and traveling is really interesting. and we're moving on. So be involved and stay active. This is the part of your like campus life when you really want to just have like a good reputation as a student, especially as an international student. Um, what does that mean? Be involved and stay active. Universities, usually universities in the United States or colleges in the United States, they have a lot of different clubs and activities on campus. Like it might be everything. It might be just outdoor club when you're just going somewhere with your, like I don't know, with other members of the club. You're just going to, I don't know, to the lake, to the mountain. You're just traveling, doing something else. There's like model UN clubs if you're like interested in international relations or like debating, or maybe you're interested in chess, anime, I don't know, playing music, something else. Usually universities, they have like dozens, even hundreds of different clubs. So you can just find yours. And that's why I was talking about the like pre-departure orientation, that it's really important to find a lot of information about your university that you're like going to study in. So on the like, usually on the university website, you can find a lot of information about the clubs that are active on campus, and I'm pretty sure that you can find something that you will like, something that you're enjoying, and of course stay active, because it's probably the best period of your life while you're in the university and while you're young and while you're, I don't know, while you want to do something. So yeah, I think that being active, especially on campus in the U.S. university, it's really important and interesting thing. Of course, you might get involved in some like student government, maybe you like that. So and this thing also gives you a lot of opportunities to meet interesting people, and we're going to talk about this thing a little bit later as well. So we're moving on, and now we have this interesting slide. Be open-minded. I think that being open-minded, it's just usually means that you have to be. There's very beautiful quotation: "The citizen of the world," or the global citizen. When you are open-minded for people from other countries, from people with different nationalities, religions, and other things, you will be really enjoying talking to them, because there is something that you don't know. It's 100%. So being open-minded is just do as much as you can, try to find as and I don't know, meet as many people as you can, try to be like involved on campus, um, and just I don't know, just be an active person in your life, because if you're doing something, you will probably have some kind of a profit in the future from these things. Because if you're like, I don't know, if you're really interested in debates, or really interested in, I don't know, chess, music, dancing, and if you know people who are interested too, you don't know what might happen to your life in the future. So that's why I think that different like connections with like other people who are interested in the same things are really like important in your life. And of course, you want to make friends in the United States, and I've already said why is it important, because you can travel with them. They might just show you around, show the city, maybe even the state if they are like from somewhere around the university. So being an open-minded person, I think it means a lot, and I think that it is really helpful to talk to different people with like different backgrounds, and to getting something from themselves and for yourself, of course, because it's like a cultural exchange. That's actually one of the goals of the exchange program that I was on, global UGRAD program, which is also like a cultural exchange. So of course, being open-minded and talking to people from all around the world is very interesting. Um, and yes, I think that that's the end of the presentation. And if you guys have any questions, I will be able to answer those questions.
So, thank you so much. That was excellent. And thank you for sharing your insights into the educational system in the United States and also sharing your personal experiences. I think we've all learned something about being open minded, as you mentioned, and also just not being afraid to reach out to people and to enjoy your experience in the United States to the fullest degree. So we've actually got a question from Olga. I will just translate it, seeing as it's in Ukrainian. So Olga is asking, are there any scholarships or grant programs in American universities or colleges for Ukrainian students who wish to apply in 2023-24? And she's specifically interested in the Bachelor of Arts and Music programs. So from myself as an outreach coordinator, I would like to say, Olga, you should really follow Education USA Ukraine, as we regularly post information about scholarships and different opportunities for Ukrainian students. So if you just stay tuned to that, you're sure to find something that corresponds to your particular needs. And you're also, all of you listening to us today are free to reach out to us to sign up for a free consultation with one of our wonderful Education USA Ukraine advisors, and we will help you to prepare your application package and also get you ready for your journey to study in the USA. Perhaps, Vasyl, you would like to add something to that, or you have any insights to share?
Oh yes, I think that the thing that I would like to add is there are scholarships and different programs for any types of like universities and any types of particularly like more specific majors that you want to get. But you just have to do your own research. You might also reach out to our Education USA advisors who might help you with that. But of course, you might just be interested in searching all the things up by yourself because you can find a lot of different information just on the internet. And I think that if you are really like motivated to find something, you will find that and you will get that opportunity, because that's the same thing that happened to me. I just found the global UGRAD program by myself. I was just literally just googling different programs, and that's how I got to like, and that's how I just found the program and I decided to apply. And that's now I'm here, a full-time student in the United States. So that's just how it works. You just, if you really want, there's this really interesting phrase as well, that like, where is the will, there is the way. So if you really want to do something, you will find a way to do that.
Okay, thank you very much. That was an excellent answer. And we actually have got another question from Dan. So Dan is asking, what are the downsides of studying in American universities or colleges? Are there maybe some negative sides?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I think that everybody can consider something as a downside for their own, because that's like a really that's a difficult question, because for me, downsides, it's probably um, I don't know. It just seems that as like, for me personally, I just think that people in the United States in general, and people in like American universities and colleges, they are a little bit fake. But I might just considering this because of their culture. Because for example, if someone is asking you how are you doing, they, as I mentioned before, they don't really care how are you doing. It's just part of their culture, and it's not only about their small talks. There are some different things, um, but mostly I would say that um, studying in the university in the United States is a little bit easier for me than studying in Ukrainian university.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. And I've actually got a question of my own, if you don't mind. So
Yes.
I would like to ask you if you, when you first came to the USA, did you get any support from your international student office or a counselor and advisor there?
Oh yes, um, I really felt that people were supporting me while I just got here, because I had an international advisor, and she was always like driving us around the city, helping us with our like phones, SIM cards, different things that we just needed for our rooms, like food, any other just important things that you need while you're just starting your this like education way. And of course, when I just got here, it was January last year, and then in February the war started, and I felt that support a lot because a lot of people were just emailing me, like professors and other university staff. They were just emailing me, reaching out to me, wanted to ask me how am I doing, how's my family back in Ukraine. So I really felt that people here, they're kind, and also I would think that I was really even sometimes surprised of the because of the amount of support that I was getting from people here and from the university.
Thank you very much. That's a wonderful answer. And we actually got another question from Dennis. So Dennis is, I think, wondering and would like to learn more about, in general, the global UGRAD program. And of course, from you specifically, like what qualities is this program looking for in a finalist and how can you get accepted onto it?
So, from my opinion, what made me a finalist of Global UGRAD program is that since I was like 15, I felt that I had some like leadership in myself. So I felt that I can be a leader in the future, maybe. And that's why when I got to the Ukrainian university, when I just graduated from high school, I became to I just started doing different things. I was really interested in debates. I was really interested in different programs, projects, and I was just an active student when I got to the university in Ukraine. And then after that, I was just, I don't know, people were just electing me for different positions. And I was like a chairman of Ivano-Frankivsk regional unit of Debate Federation of Ukraine. And then I was member of trade union in my university. I was just an active student and I was working all the time. I was just doing something that was, it was just for my pleasure. I didn't do that for any like I don't know, uh, for any I don't know, profits in the future. I was just doing something that I really enjoyed. And then I had some different achievements, of course, and rewards. And I think that all those like summed up as a really good resume for myself. And I applied for the program and I got accepted.
Okay, I see. Thank you very much. And another question I think a lot of our viewers are probably wondering about is how difficult is it to obtain financial aid for studying as in the US? As we all know, American education is notoriously expensive. So maybe you've got some tips to share of how to look for scholarships or funding programs.
Oh yes, I think this is a couple minutes answer. So the first thing is like for me personally, when I got accepted on Global UGRAD program, it was easier to do all these things with like finances because I didn't really pay for anything because the Global UGRAD program is financed by the U.S. Department of State. So we are literally paid. We were literally like financed by the U.S. government, and I didn't pay for anything. We were like receiving scholarships, all the students on this program, so we didn't pay for anything. And then when my American university offered me to transfer my credits here, I just they promised me, and that's what they did. They are just financing me right now as well. But you might not be with the same like on the same conditions as I was. So you might be wondering what can help you getting some financial aid while you're like just a bachelor while you're just getting a bachelor degree here or a master's degree. So usually in the universities they have a lot of different scholarships which are like inside of the university scholarships, and there are outside of the university scholarships from different like foundations, from different organizations, and a lot of stuff. You just have to be familiar with those things, because if you have like a potential and you have nice CV, like a resume, and like you have some kind of achievements, you're an active student, people are usually paying attention to you and they are ready to invest their like money, their like organizations, they are ready to invest money in yourself. um, and that's why it's like usually easier for you to pay, especially if it's like bachelor's degree. And with masters it's a little bit harder to find financial aid, but at the same time a lot of universities, they are offering something that is called graduate assistance. What is that? It's like when you are a graduate student, so like you're getting your master's degree and you are working on campus, for example with some of the offices, And that's why you are either not paying your tuition or paying just a small part of that, and at the same time university is paying for you to working with them. So for different types of for different types of students, there are different opportunities to get financial aid from.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a really wonderful answer, and I think it's the sort of answer that would help a lot of our viewers to just get their bearings and get an idea for how to look for financial aid programs. So we've actually got another question from Oksana from Facebook. So thank you very much for tuning in today. And Oksana is asking, what is an ideal lecture for you? So I suppose like Oksana is wondering about some of the programs that are being offered. So like mandatory lectures and also electives. And yes, so what subjects have you found the most interesting, or maybe who has been an ideal lecturer for you as well?
Okay, so speaking about lectures like on campus in American University, I just found lectures very interesting when there is an opportunity to just to have a discussion with the speaker. I think that's much more interesting than if the speaker is just talking on his own. And I think that if speaker has connection with the audience, it makes the lecture more like it just makes the lecture more like complete. It seems for me you can just see like the full image of the lecture and the full image of the idea of that lecture that the speaker wants to like to talk to you about. And yeah, I think that the ideal lecture is when you find something interesting and you're getting some kind of a knowledge from the lecture. You're not just like a free listener, you know.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, I think that's a valid point to consider. And so finally, I would like to wrap up our session today with a final question, and that is, do you maybe have any advice for prospective students who are looking to start their journey on to studying in the USA but have no idea where to get started and what things they need to consider?
Oh yes. So it just depends on first what level of education you have now. If you're just in school, like high school, or if you're getting your bachelor's, or if you're getting your master's, it just everything depends. But the first advice, which is the most important, is make your own research. Find the universities that you would like. Find the universities that have the programs that you would like to study. Find more like maybe with the cheaper tuition, maybe with the universities that are offering different scholarships for Ukrainians, especially right now while our country is like going through such hard times. And you can find a lot of different opportunities being Ukrainian, especially right now. You just have to know how to find those opportunities. So if you're just sitting at home and like, oh, I will get my bachelor's degree in the US. That's not how it works. You have to do at least something. You have to be really involved in these activities, and you have to at least follow Education USA, of course, because I think that guys are they like really helpful, especially when they're posting different types of scholarships. That's one of a lot of resources that you might find some scholarships on, and I think that you just have to move on. Like if you have a desire to study in the United States and you really want to do that, just find an opportunity. You will find that, and eventually, I know people who were applying for UGRAD program like twice, three times. I know people who were not passing their like TOEFL test for like 2 or 3 times, but they still got accepted and they are still studying in the United States right now. So if you really have a desire, you will find a way to do that.
Okay, thank you very much for those wonderful words of encouragement. And I think we've all heard something today that we can learn from, and that we can also use in our journey to study in the USA. For any of you that might have missed a part of the recording, don't worry. Today's webinar will be available in full on our YouTube channel. And if you would would like to receive more useful information from our wonderful speakers and from our advisors here at Education USA, you should subscribe to our channel and follow the news so as not to miss any of the upcoming events. Thank you once again for joining us today. It was wonderful having this chat with you, and I wish you the best in your studies. I hope that all of your dreams and wishes come true and you get the best experience possible.
Thank you so much, Victoria, and thank you guys for inviting me. I was really glad to share this information and to share my experience, and I hope I was helpful and useful for our listeners and our audience. And of course, if you guys have any questions, you can reach out to our Education USA advisors, or you can maybe reach out to Victoria or to me, and we will be really happy to help you and to answer your questions. Thank you so much.